Now, this is exactly how I went. I would appreciate it if I did not wake up tomorrow. You would be doing me a favor. And I kept waking up. And every night I went to bed and I prayed that prayer and I woke up, I was mad. Because I woke up. And when I woke up, I realized that I still hurt. Cynical. They don't trust anybody. You ever meet somebody that just think they skeptic about everything? You are just so, no, that can't be true. You ain't got no, why don't you believe me? 2 + 2 is 4. I'm sorry, I just don't believe it. I don't trust anybody. Overly sensitive. Look, dude, there's a limit to how sensitive you can be. Some stuff, you just need to get over it. And sometimes you want to tell people, but because they're so overly sensitive, you can't even tell them that they got a problem. Like, man, I have to actually pray that Jesus tells you himself. Because if I tell you right now, you're going to take it the wrong way. I told somebody one time I can only deal with you in doses, and they were so offended. And I was being honest. I was like, dude, you ain't the only one. It's just the other people around me don't get bothered by it. And I know some people that can only deal with me in monetary, this much at a time. And it's okay. I probably feel the same way, but I told that person that, and they looked at me like I was the devil. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you the truth anymore. Shame. Sabotage. This one's a good one because people who are rejected and never recover from it don't have hope in certain ways. So because they don't believe it'll work out, or they're scared that when it gets to a certain point it's going to go this way and this thing might happen again, they deliberately sabotage it. I used to be that person. Sin is self-destruction, I promise you. You ever meet somebody that every time things get real good, they got to do something stupid? Mm-hmm. I was that person. Never failed. When I was young, I'd be doing good. And sometimes I had triggers that were connected to my rejection. It got to the point where they told my mother, look, you can't see your son because every time you see your son, he acts like this when you leave. That's how bad it had got when I was growing up. Your son will be doing great in school, doing all this stuff, and when you show up, after you're gone, and you go away and do whatever you do, or every time he talks to you and you say this and you say that and you never do it, he acts like this. So you know what, Miss Crump? You've already given over custody of your son to the state, so we're removing from you your right to visit your child. But it was true. You know what she started doing? One time, I went to this cookout. I didn't go to the cookout, I was walking. Family lived in a neighborhood not too far from my foster home. I was walking down the street, and I'm walking down the street that I grew up on where my godmother used to live. I'm just walking, and I see people outside that I know are related to me, but I attempted to keep walking. My cousin says, Jimmy, oh my gosh. She bust out crying. She hasn't seen me in years. She says, come back and say hi to everybody. Your mom and your sister are back here. I'm 16. I probably haven't talked to my mom. I'm probably 16, 17. I probably haven't talked to my mom in a while, a long time. I don't want to go. She's like, come, please, 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 please. I go back there. I see my mother probably for the first time in 7, 8 months, maybe. And I talk to her. And she looks at me and says, I think you should leave. It took me years upon years upon years to recover. So I understand why it's so difficult for you to get over it, because it's not easy. She looks at me, the one person that I want to say, hey, I'm happy to see you, says go. And still to this day never answer as to why. And the thing is, God is so powerful that when he got rid of the strong man of rejection, I didn't need a reason anymore. And that was the thing that was powerful. When I stopped needing you to come apologize to me, that's when I knew I was free. And I could treat you right if you didn't. When you can act like nothing ever happened, I know what happened, and I can act like nothing ever happened. I forgave you without you apologizing. And sometimes you still act the way you acted back then. That's when the strong man was gone, and God actually, I knew he healed me. And he placed a demand on me to do it. And he'll do the same thing for you. So, with that being said, we have Saul, and he goes through these series of rejection. He gets rejected, and all of a sudden an evil spirit comes. Remember I said there's an event that happens, and then as a response to the event, a spirit comes. He was rejected by God. So part of the reason that the Spirit was able to come is because God sent the evil spirit. But for some of us, because of how we respond, the Spirit regains access. Because the thing that gives the Spirit access to your life is sin. So the Spirit shows up, gets access to your life, and now Saul's depressed. And the only cure for his depression is the presence of God. And because he has no relationship with God, it's somebody else with the Spirit of God on them. The Bible says, for the spirit of heaviness, I'll give you the garment of praise. Heaviness and depression are synonymous. His cure for depression was praise. And David came and played and the Spirit left. He's so depressed now that he moves from, he's so rejected, now that his rejection progresses from depression to jealousy. Because I see people who have what was rejected. I see people who have what rejected me. And I have a problem with those people. Because they have what I always wanted but never got. I got a problem with people who have good relationships with their parents because my relationship with my parents sucks. There's people in the church that get jealous because you're anointed. They don't want to pray and they wonder why they ain't anointed, but you are and you pray, so they get jealous. My boyfriend did such and such and such to me, so all of my friends who have boyfriends, I talk down about them. So now it progresses from just rejection to depression to bitterness. And now Saul goes seeking what he lost again. And he moves from bitterness to idolatry. He found himself doing things that deliberately went against God's commandments so that he could feel acceptance again. Because the person he asked the lady, the witch, to call up was Samuel. And the first verse we looked at was when Samuel said, I won't come back again because God rejected you. And a lot of us, that's what we've done. We live our lives sinning, not because we like sin, but because we're still trying to find that thing that we lost a long time ago. I told you guys, I wasn't having sex with all those women because I just wanted to be a dog. I was doing it because I was still trying to find more than replacement. And in my seeking, people introduced me to things that I would have not been introduced to had I not been chasing them. I wasn't looking for sex. I was looking for my mother. But when I met you, looking for her, you introduced me to this. I met somebody else who introduced me to this. Then somebody else introduced you to this. So now, what happens and what we're going to deal with next week is strongholds. God frees you from the strong man, which we're about to pray for, but you still have to have it. That's the stronghold. The demon's gone, but you still do it. Because you've done it so much now, you can do it in the dark, half sleep. Oh, let's be honest. It's some stuff that we can do that's wrong, and we don't need no energy or no consciousness to do. I found out I could have sex tired, sleep. Oh, you're probably more likely to sin tired than you are awake. The other thing was Saul did two other things. And the first thing he did was he changed his clothes. I'm willing to forsake my identity and chase after this thing. My destiny, my identity, my royalty, my heritage, everything that's great about me, I cover up because I'm chasing after you. And this is the thing in the Bible. A lot of the times, who the person was deemed to be was directly connected to how they dressed. There was a story where Judah went, and the Bible said that his daughter-in-law took off her widow's garments and put on the garments of a prostitute. And he thought she was a prostitute because she was dressed like a prostitute. It wasn't deep religious or spiritual. She was dressed like a prostitute, thought she was a prostitute. And it applies to us. You dress a certain way, people respond to you the way you dress. Yeah. Whether you like it or not. If you didn't really believe that, you wouldn't dress up for interviews. Yeah. But you do, don't you? So you're walking around campus dressed a certain way, and people are responding to you, and you're trying to figure out why. Be offended because deep inside your mind, you know how they're responding is wrong, but I'm just trying to help you know why. Be offended because nobody should talk to you that way. But know that the reason that they're talking to you is based on what they see. That's real talk.